Bhutan is looking to chart its own path as it navigates between two superpowers, China and India. But an ongoing brain drain is hampering efforts to recharge the Himalayan nation's post-COVID economy. CNA's Saksith Saiyasombut spoke exclusively to Bhutan Prime Minister Tshering Tobgay about the country's high youth unemployment rate.
Overall unemployment at about 5%, little over 5.5%. It's more or less manageable, but youth unemployment at 29% is unacceptably high. Many of our youth are going abroad and looking for prospects, job prospects outside our country, which is good and bad. Good because it shows that our youth are wanted elsewhere. It shows that our youth have the skills and the mindset to be of value outside our country. So that's the positive part. The negative part, obviously, the risky part, is that we know that most of the youth will come back. We hope that they will come back. They are always welcome. But in the meantime, we have a country to run. And this country is a small country. Our entire population is barely 700,000 people. So we need people here also to rebuild our economy and our country.
Now let's jump right into the Gelephu Mindfulness City, which is basically the tentpole, the headline, more or less, of not only what His Majesty the King said, but the headline of this economic change that Bhutan should be leading. We were down in Gelephu earlier this week to see the area, the land where the city will be one day there. It is a vast place. It is huge, definitely bigger than Singapore. But also the concept that you are proposing, that it is a modern city, but with many different aspects that you don't see in other mega cities. Mindfulness, environmental conservation. When I saw this for the first time, and forgive me for saying this, but it looks too good to be true. I mean, what are you telling the naysayers that are saying that this is too good to be true?
We've had our challenges, but for many people, this seems to be the ideal. And we in Bhutan, while we are poor, we have our challenges, we are fortunate enough to live these ideals. So if you go to Gelephu, you would see a blank canvas. This area has two protected areas, protected forests, old protected forests. They are hotspots for biodiversity. And these two protected areas are connected by a biological corridor. A lot of old farms, terraces, rice terraces, and I do believe that we can create an urban living space, not necessarily to be a model for the rest of the world, but definitely an inspiration for the rest of the world.
I want to talk about the environment, and I want to talk about, especially you have been very well known for your advocacy, pointing out Bhutan's leading role in environmentalism. It can be justifiably be proud of being a carbon negative country, getting most, if not all, of its power from hydroelectricity. Is there a risk that hydro energy is exposed to climate change, and then therefore you're looking into ways to diversify your energy sources?
You look at our mountains, our high mountains. We look at them with reverence. We don't allow people to, by law, we are not allowed to climb our mountains. Yet, that's the front line of, that's where climate change is taking a big toll. How soon will it happen in terms of our rivers no longer being sustainable and no longer be financially sustainable for our hydropower? This is in the future, but we've got to be mindful, and yes, we've got to diversify. We've got to diversify our energy source, from hydroelectricity to solar and wind and biomass. But also we've got to diversify our economy.
Bhutan's economy, for a large part, is relying on tourism, obviously very much affected by COVID-19. But do you think that post-pandemic, is there a change in mindset about how Bhutan is approaching tourism? Or is it still going to target the high value, low number kind of way?
There's no two ways about it. Our tourism policy is high value, low volume. It has been high value, low volume. It is high value, low volume, and it will continue to be high value, low volume. We cannot go in for larger numbers simply because we will not be able, we do not have the absorptive capacity for large numbers of tourists. They will wreck the environment. Not because tourists want to wreck the environment, it's just the numbers. Our culture would be suffocated, not because tourists want to, but numbers would suffocate our culture. And so it has to be low volume. When it is low volume, how do you make it low volume? By high value. And so what numbers are we talking about? Right now we get 100,000 tourists. We are targeting 300,000 tourists a year. That's it. We cannot absorb more than 300,000 tourists a year.